Hi, I'm Dr. Martinez and I'm feeling really Christmassy today. Aren't you? I want to talk to you about some holiday stuff, holiday dangers and things that dogs shouldn't eat. And maybe things that can cause cats problems too. Well, the number one cause to take your dog to the vet because it ate something that is poisonous or toxic to it are medications. If you're visiting family members on the holiday season, don't go in and put all your medications on the counter and walk away, because if they have dogs, dogs like to throw stuff off the counter and then eat it. That's not good. So the medications they eat might be good for humans, but they're not good for dogs, and it can cause dogs to have heart problems like blood pressure pills or like all those other pills we take that, well, we won't go into that. But anyway, you be careful with medications. Ibuprofen. If dog takes too much ibuprofen, they can get bleeding, ulcers in the stomach, and kidney problems. So be careful. You can safely give dogs aspirin. And in my 11 Practical Home Remedies on dogdishdiet.com, I give you dosages for aspirin and antihistamines for common problems in dogs. But ibuprofens in high doses can cause harm, so don't give ibuprofen. If you're going to give your dog something for pain, look up the dosage for aspirin and give that. And you know, you can also give Pepsid if your dog gets a little nauseous from the holiday season. Say it eats some food it's not used to. You can give Pepsid, and that's also in my 11 Practical Home Remedies at dogdishdiet.com. So what do we have here? We have things that can make dogs, like I was just talking about, dogs can get nauseous. Poinsettias. The dogs often like to graze on the leaves, and it can cause irritation. Same with mistletoe. And same with Christmas trees. All those stuff can make them puke a couple times. Are they toxic? A lot of sites say this is toxic. It's not toxic, it just causes gastric irritation. So your dog may puke a couple times by eating the leaf. The poinsettia leaf doesn't taste too bad. We'll see if it makes me nauseous in a little while. I don't really think I should do this. Well, I'm doing it for the camera. Anyway, so you could give your dog Pepsid, and it will help it if it gets nauseous from eating a poinsettia or mistletoe or pieces of the Christmas tree. Now, if a cat eats parts of the Easter lily, it can get kidney failure. But that's pretty much one of the major plants that causes problems. What else do we have here? Did you know that raisins can be toxic for some dogs, and grapes? If some dogs eat raisins and grapes, they're extra sensitive to some of the chemicals or sprays on them. They're not really sure why, but their kidneys, they can have kidney failure. So avoid these on holidays. Don't leave these down where your dogs can get them. And onions. A dog can eat too many, like I think a 30-pound dog has to eat a medium onion really to be toxic. Just a few pieces of onion is not too much of a concern, but onions are listed as toxic for dogs, and they cause blood problems. Garlic, it's on many sites to be toxic, but really a lot of people use powdered garlic to help repel fleas, putting in a dog's food daily or a couple times a week. A dog has to eat a lot of garlic to have problems, and you can feed a dog a quarter of a clove for an average 30-pound dog a couple times a week, and to help them repel fleas. So even though this is on the websites, it's toxic, it's really not that toxic. Now, the biggest thing, like I said, the biggest toxicity dogs can have is, remember to keep medications up, and also chocolate. There's all kinds of different chocolates, and it can be toxic for dogs. The things that's toxic in chocolates is a drug called theobromine, and if the dog gets too much of the theobromine in chocolate, then its heart can race, it can have vomiting and diarrhea, it can actually collapse. But what happens is people see that their dogs eat a little bit of milk chocolate and they rush them to the emergency vet. Well, actually, this is 4.4 ounces of milk chocolate, and you could feed this to a 100-pound dog and they probably would be fine. if a dog eats a small square of chocolate or a Hershey's Kiss made out of milk chocolate, they'll be fine, and I'll talk to you about the dosage in a minute. They can get sick if they eat too much milk chocolate. But the dangerous ones are the bittersweet chocolate, has more theobromine, more of the cocoa bean, and the dark chocolate has a lot more. So what you have to be careful of is keeping all the chocolates, especially dark chocolate and bittersweet chocolate, up out of dog's reach. Usually a 5-pound dog, if it eats over 2 ounces of milk chocolate for each 5 pounds, then it can get sick. So if you have a 100-pound dog, that's 20 5-pound units, and it'd have to eat up to 40 ounces of milk chocolate to get sick. Now let me tell you that, so a 5-pound dog can eat 2 ounces of milk chocolate. A 5-pound dog can only eat 3/4 of an ounce of semi-sweet chocolate, or it can only eat a 1/4 ounce of the dark chocolate before it gets sick. So just think, it has to eat 8 times as much milk chocolate as it does dark chocolate to get sick. So if you go to Dog Dish Diet, or if you Google Dog Dish Diet and chocolate, I have a couple blogs on the dosages that you need, that your dog would need to eat to get sick. So that's kind of, hope you understand the differences. Milk chocolate is dangerous, and bittersweet chocolate is more dangerous, and then the dark chocolate is much more dangerous. So if your dog gets some chocolate, what can you do? Well, you can use peroxide. You can use a food grade 2% hydrogen peroxide, and you can put it in a little cup like that, a few tablespoons, and you can actually put it down your dog's throat, and they'll usually vomit up the chocolate. It has to be done right away because the chocolate is really easily melted and absorbed in the intestine. Same thing with plants. If your dog eats a whole bunch of plants or medications, you might want to try the peroxide right away. So what happens is you should go to the emergency vet if they've eaten a bunch, but the nice thing is if you make them throw up, the sooner you make them throw up, the better, because the less absorption they're going to have of the medications or the chocolate. If you wait the 30 minutes to an hour before you get to the emergency clinic, their body has the chance to absorb all that material. So if you give them the stuff to make them vomit, then if they vomit, then the dangerous toxins are not absorbed and the effects of the chemicals are not nearly that bad. So you can try that, but if they eat a whole bunch and the peroxide didn't work in 10 minutes, then take them off to the emergency room and get them treated. Always err on the side of safety. Don't play around with medications or a lot of baking chocolate in a small dog. If you have a 2-pound dog and it ate a whole bar like that, you better get into the vet because it's going to need some support. But like I said before, if it just ate a little bit of milk chocolate, then you might not have the problem. So we talked about chocolates and medications, which are really common. We talked about eating poinsettias and mistletoe, which is basically just would make them throw up. And the poinsettia that I chewed on didn't make me sick yet, so I feel pretty good about that. So, and then we also talked about grapes and raisins being poisonous. What about cats? Well, cats like to jump on trees and eat tinsel and ornaments, and that makes their intestines get bunched up inside as the tinsel gets caught on the intestines, and it will actually cause them to vomit and have an intestinal blockage. So try to keep your tinsel. If you have cats, it's probably not a good idea to use tinsel, and I don't think people are using that anymore. And it can make them sick. Also, the water, the stand that you put the Christmas tree in, the water often has chemicals to preserve it, and fertilizers and stuff, and that will sometimes make animals sick. So I just want to kind of make a little video about that. If you have thoughts about other things you've heard about, please answer me in the video. And often puppies will chew on everything, so you've got to really keep puppies out of way of the ornaments and electric cords, because puppies will chew on electric cords, they'll chew on ornaments, That's another big danger. So, oh, and I know what I was going to talk about now. Scraps. They talk about human food being poisonous for dogs or toxic. If you have a dog and you give it a little tiny piece of turkey or a little piece of chicken that you've had for Christmas dinners, that's probably okay. If you give them a little steak, as long as they're good with steak, that's probably okay. But if your dog's used to eating kibble and you give it a whole bunch of fatty meat and or turkey carcass, and they're not used to eating that kind of stuff, they might get sick. So remember, healthy stuff, healthy meat can also be healthy for dogs. And I wrote about that in my 2 books, Dog Dish Diet, and also Feed Your Pet to Avoid the Vet. Both are at my website at dogdishdiet.com and on amazon.com. But if you give your dog a bunch of fatty meat that it's not used to, just think about us. We go to a barbecue place and we're not used to barbecue, or we go to a Mexican restaurant, we're not used to spicy food, we get nauseous. It's the same thing that happens with dogs. They eat something they're not used to and they'll get sick. So be careful if you're going to feed them healthy vegetables or little pieces of meat. Then if the dogs aren't allergic to the type of meat, say beef or chicken or fish or pork, they'll do fine. But don't overload them with anything during the Christmas season. I'm not one of the veterinarians that think that all human food is bad. I think healthy human food is good. But we often overload dogs with unhealthy food like too much fat or a bunch of bones, and they get sick. They get constipated. Like some dogs, they'll go out and they'll eat a whole turkey carcass, and all the bones in that carcass will turn their poop into cement, and they get constipated. Bad idea, and a bad place to be in. But anyway, enjoy your Christmas. Have a happy holidays.